Kevin, as we continue through the month of May, we recognize Gun Violence Awareness Day. This is a occurrence that's unfortunately hit so many of our communities, including locally here and across the state in Michigan. And so many people are making a point to make sure that they take action to bring awareness to gun violence prevention tactics, including here in West Bloomfield Township, where recently a group came to West Bloomfield Township and was able to work with the township to get a Gun Violence Awareness Day recognition passed at the township board level.
Absolutely. And join us here on the Splash Live. We have someone to talk about that more specifically. Gun Violence Awareness Month is in June, so it's very appropriate that we have Ann Anderson from the Michigan chapter, co-lead of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, and a Wear Orange volunteer. Ann Anderson, thank you so much for your time for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
So for people who are unaware, National Gun Violence Awareness Day is the first Friday in June.
Okay.
It was started after a teen from Chicago, Hadia Pendleton, who had marched in 2013 in the second inaugural parade for President Obama, and a week later was shot and killed on a playground in Chicago. Her friends and family members decided that they were going to honor her life by raising awareness of gun violence. And they had the first Wear Orange Day on her birthday, which is in early June. And they asked people to wear orange. They chose orange because that is the color that hunters wear when they are trying to say don't shoot. So that has grown into a national movement. The National Gun Violence Awareness Day was recognized as the first Friday in June. That is going to be June 7th this year.
Right.
And there are Wear Orange events that go on all throughout that weekend. So the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And actually there's some that happen before and after as well. And that's at the national level. People can find out more of those events that are happening at wearorange.org. And if they go to ways to participate, they can do a search by their location to find the events that are happening near them.
Right.
Some of them that are happening there's an event, I think in Rochester, they're going to be tying orange ribbons around poles in downtown Rochester. There's an event, it's not yet showing up on the website because I'm trying to get all the details, but there's going to be an event on the 9th at St. Stephen AME in Detroit that will involve, amongst other things, planting orange flowers as part of like a memory, like a memory garden. And I'm trying to remember, and very importantly in Oxford on, I believe, June 8th, there's a nature walk for Justin Schilling, who is one of the students who was murdered at Oxford High School. Wow. So those just some of the events that are happening in the area. Then in addition, there's Silence the Violence. Right. So Silence the Violence started with Church of the Messiah 17 years ago when the church and the congregation were disturbed and fed up, quite frankly, with the number of gun deaths that were affecting their community, the young people who were being, killed by guns and gun violence, and they decided to do something. They have a lot of programs that they do to support and kind of like be community violence intervention and things like that, but they also have this annual march and rally, Silence the Violence. Last year, they took it statewide, and they are continuing that tradition this year so that there are events all across the state, mostly through the month of June. There were a few in May that are to, again, recognize gun violence, its victims, and the impact it has on all of us. And those events can be found at End Gun Violence Michigan's website. So if you go to endgunviolencemi.org, and select more, there's a pull down menu and you check the Silence the Violence events there. There's I think about 30 going on across the state. Some of them are marches and rallies, like what will be happening in Detroit on the 15th. Some of them, there's another one on the in Oxford on the 22nd, which is their third annual rally. So there are events going on all over. There's also Indivisible Huron Valley is hosting a screening of the documentary Gabby Giffords Won't Back Down. Gabby Giffords, for those who don't know, is a U.S. representative who was shot at a rally. Actually, was actually shot in the head, and she managed to survive, and then has turned her passion and her abilities toward gun violence prevention.
That's good.
So
I want to
there's
ask
a
you.
lot of
I'm
stuff.
sorry to. No, that was a lot to consume, and I appreciate you giving that. We're gonna kind of wrap it up by end up telling people where to go to actually find all that information, just in case it was too much now. But I want to kind of dig into a few things, and real quick, while we do have you, first and foremost, you provide a lot of information in regards to the Wear Orange organization, the root of it, why they wear orange. All great information I wasn't privy to. I'm sure our audience wasn't. But you're also like you said, co-lead for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. Can you briefly give us some more information behind that organization?
Okay, and to find out about us, we're at momsdemandaction.org is our website. It is a national organization, and I am the co-lead for the Michigan chapter. We are a group of volunteers. It's a grassroots volunteers organization. We are, as we say, mothers and others. So you don't have to be a mom, you don't have to be a woman to be a member. And what we do is we work toward gun violence prevention. We are not anti-gun, but we are anti-gun violence. We are pro-gun safety.
Right.
And we are looking for common sense, evidence-backed solutions to things. Some of that is advocating for policy change, but some of that is just educating the public. So part of what we do is the Be Smart organization, or Be Smart, not organization, Be Smart program that we have, which actually is an educational program for adults to teach them better practices when it comes to firearms and children, because we recognize that it's our responsibility as the adults to keep kids safe from guns. There's one thing you can do, which is something that teaches people about extreme risk protection orders. So we have some educational tools as well, and we believe in also working in the community and with the community organizations that are already doing the work.
Exactly. And that's how you do it. Collaborating with local organizations that are already established, especially with it being a national organization. You want to connect with those local ones that are also doing that work. I completely understand that. What's very important to me personally is the proclamation with the West Bloomfield Township for the Gun Violence Awareness Day. Can you just talk a little bit more about that proclamation, the importance of it, and why here in West Bloomfield area, why that's so important?
Every year we ask as many townships as we can around the area to recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day, to kind of raise again that awareness of this issue. As I said, the meaning, it's something that gun violence is something that impacts all of us in one way or another. It can be something that's direct, but it can be a lot of things that are what we don't perceive that it's impacting us. Things like our children trying to manage the trauma that gets created just merely by having active shooter drills. It might be someone who's had someone in their life who's committed suicide with a gun. So there's a lot of different ways we get affected. The entire state was traumatized by what happened at MSU because we all knew somebody. Even if we weren't there, we knew somebody who was. And these are things that we want to raise that awareness. West Bloomfield has been a very good partner in that, because they have supported us, I believe, every year that we have asked, and it's been several years now. And we're just asking people, at least on the 7th, wear orange. You can let people know about it, go to the website, find out more about what this is about, and just bring that awareness to people of the fact that there are victims and survivors everywhere, and that all of us have faced this impact.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I'm so glad we had you here. We got to kind of wrap up, but I do appreciate your time. And one last time, just let people know the key important information of where they should go if they want to find all the resources that you just gave.
So the first one is wearorange.org. And if you go to the ways to participate, that's where you can find the events. The second one is endgunviolencemi.org. And there, if you click on the More button, there is an option to go to the Silence the Violence events. And then finally, if you want to find out anything more about Moms Demand Action, for Gun Sense in America, you go to momsdemandaction.org. If you're interested in any of our other programs, you could go to besmartforkids.org or onethingyoucando.org. And then one last thing, if people want to reach out to me, my email address is michigan@momschapterleaders.org.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for your time and talking about something that's very, very important and that it impacts or affects all of us, whether directly or indirectly. Once again, Michigan chapter co-lead for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America and a volunteer for Wear Orange, Ann Anderson. We appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.